Hi collectors, details too small with a quick look at my latest addition to my collection. It's the Hot Toys Guardians of the Galaxy Gamora. Um, really enjoyed this movie, so it was always my intention to get the full line of these figures. Ordered Rocket and Groot probably when they first announced last year from Sideshow. Then followed that on with Star-Lord. Didn't expect to get this one first, but from first impressions, I'm glad I have. So when I first saw the photographs, the bloggers' photos of the line that they were announcing, this was the one that really stood out for me in terms of the head sculpt. So everybody's got different reasons for buying Hot Toys, but for me, the thing that makes them stand out from the crowd is the head sculpts. Majority of the time, they get it right. They might be slightly off, a couple of points off, but most of the time they get it right on. I know there's a lot of talk about this figure, about the likeness, but from first impressions, anybody that's got any doubts about this, forget about it. It's a very, very good head sculpt, but I'll go into that shortly after. So this is a quick look at the box. So the box is just the same as the Avengers line. So basically slipcover, internal clamshell with the stuff in. So nice bit of artwork on the front, bit of fluoro pink, and the big G with Gamora on the front. It's got Gamora on the side, 1/6 scale figure, and then on the back, just the usual, pretty plain. So choking hazards, do not give to small children. So nothing special about that. Inside of the box, inside the slip, you've got the usual sort of clamshell design with all the parts in there. It's got that really a nice little touch. It's got the height chart from when those guys standing having the mug shots done, so that's pretty clever. Nice little touch on there. And then on the back, we've just got the usual Hot Toys cast and crew pictures on there. And then the top, the Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel. So here she is. This is pretty much straight out of the box. I've not done anything with the figure at all. I've just put her out, put her together, and just put her on the stand. Again, first impressions on this head sculpt, it's amazing. I would say out of all the Hot Toys that I've got, it's either close to being the best or it is the best head sculpt that I've got that represents a living character. As I said, I'm a big fan of the movies, so I've watched the Guardians movie a lot of times now, too many to remember. And for me, as a fan, I'm more than happy with how this figure's turned out. So this is the first representation of her in the movie. So how we see her when she first comes into the movie. So basically with the sword and this black uniform. So as it progresses through the film, I think she's got about 4 costume changes. So she's got this one. They've got their scavenger sort of purple suits later on. And she's got that little sort of dress on at the end of the movie, and I'm sure there's another one in there somewhere. It escapes me. So yeah, Hot Toys could go mad on this range. Same as with the Star-Lord. Star-Lord's got the first revision as you see him at the very beginning of the movie with the long coat on. Whereas the majority of the movie, he's wearing that little short jacket, which would have been nice if they'd included that in that first set. But I think they're going to do another version of him. So so I'm stoked about getting this line. So if this is what's to come, then yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting the rest. So I've got Rocket on order with Sideshow. I ordered him last year with Groot, and I've also got Star-Lord, which again looks really good. Can't wait to get him. But out of all the photos I've seen before, this was the one that made me go wow in terms of head sculpt. It was an absolute corker when I saw it, and in hand it lives up to it. So really impressed with that. Again, as I've said before, it's very subjective. We're all different. We all like different things out of the figures, but for me personally, I think it's an awesome representation of Gamora. So I guess it's one of those where you have to make your own mind up on it. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, awesome piece. Clothing wise, as I said, they've got this black, it's similar sort of fabric to Black Widow's costume. So it's sort of pleather looking. It's got that blue flashing that runs down either side at the top, and then runs down straight through the front of the legs. It is all one piece. It's not a top and bottom. The belt just sits there and sort of breaks it up. You got like a harder rubber around the neck here, and then there's this mesh section in the front. Mine's a little bit, a little bit messy on that corner on the right hand side. It's nothing that sort of spoils the figure, but yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's quite gone under the seam there on that side, as much as it probably could have done. But overall, it looks pretty good. So I'll just turn around and just show you the side. So it's got the belt on. So I've actually got the main sword in the hand, and then the other one is sits in this little holder on the side there. So as you know, in the film, it grows in length. So obviously this is in the normal carrying stage, and then the other sword is representing when it's fully grown to size. As you can see, I'll just lift this up so you can see the back there. That collar goes round, and it's seamed down the back. Belt carries on there, and then again we've got that blue down the top of the backs of the legs on this side. So yeah, really good. I think the fact that it's got no joints and the rubberized arms, it makes it look so real. And it's only in like certain poses, so I've got this hand just cranked down a little bit. But if you rotate these sort of wrist guards down, you cannot see any joints on this thing, so it looks real. The one other thing that on early reviews, especially if you want to watch a good review on Star-Lord, go to xenomorph.com, and Andre did a review there, and I agreed with him in what he said around the head sculpt on Star-Lord. Is it's got that crease. It's a similar one as on the Man of Steel, where below the ears they've just got this little bit of straight plastic that runs round, which yeah, they could have probably done better and sort of spoils it a little bit. But this one is, yeah, it's flawless in terms of the way that it looks. So it's amazing, really, how they've pulled this one off. I'll just drop this down, and we'll just have a look at the base and on the legs. So she's got boots on here. The boots are really nicely done. So they've got straps going around there, so it's all moulded. It's got these high heels. So there's not a lot of articulation in the ankles, but to be quite honest, again, for me, that's not an issue at all. They just look so good, and yeah, without doing really crazy poses, it's adequate for me. But again, if you're one of those that loves the ankle pivot and all that kind of thing, then yeah, you're going to be limited on what you can do with this thing. It's pretty stiff at the bottom. So it comes with 2 sets of relaxed hands. So it's got one on this side already. It's got 2 hands for the swords, and basically then just 2 clenched fists. I like how they've done the jewellery on this. It's actually looks really good. And I love these new stands. I noticed they're very similar to the Star Wars ones that look like they're coming out. But the problem with some of these dynamic stands that are coming out, they're just so big. And so if you're storing them in the Detolf like me, you can get 2 or 3, and they can sort of lock together and overlap without actually taking up a massive amount of room. So I'm loving these new stands. They're definitely wider, and yeah, I just think they're really cool. So they're a winner for me. I'll just turn this around there. So the only thing that's can be annoying is there's a little bit of a strap that goes around the waist here. What I've done, I've pulled it up and held the pleather on the leg and pulled it up now, and it seems to be staying put now. But until you've actually forced it up there, it does keep falling down a little bit if you're trying to move it around. But touch wood, since I've made that change, it's not been too bad. There's a bit of a close-up of the face sculpt. I was hoping to do this outside because it looks so much realer in normal daylight. But in this light, she still looks pretty amazing. Okay, before I go into articulation, I'll just show the instructions. So the main things they tell you to look at is making sure that you tilt the head forward when you're before you pose the head. So that's the first sort of care point. Arm movement. So again, it says do not leave in the forearms in a bent position over a period of time. It might cause creases. So basically, movement on there is 90 degrees, and it also shows that ratchet feature that I'll show you with the forearms. So basically, the forearms have got a ratchet system that I've not seen before that sort of rotates inwards, which means that the hands and the arms will stay in that position for, say, holding the sword across the front and things like that. So that's a pretty new thing, not seen before on anything else. So recommendations here that we don't lift the arms up, so it's from 90 degrees. You got full 360 rotation forward, right over. Shows how to clip the sword into the holster on the side there. So that's pretty straightforward as well. It says if you really want to play Girls World, you can apply your hairstyler to it and get your gel on there. So if you want to pamper your Gamora, then it explains how you can do it. And then also the usual ones with the rubberized product that just basically be very careful that you don't come into contact with any sharp objects. So that's really it as far as sort of care points go. So I'm not going to mess around massively with the articulation, but as I said, the arms go up, so that's about as much as they recommend for the arms on this. Same on the other side, so she can do that. Bringing it back forward, so again 90-degree bend. Unlike the Hulk, you don't know tidy creases in the arms. It's a nice clean crease. It looks very natural. You almost, as well, in this bent position, you can actually see it's got a proper, looks like it's got an elbow, which is really cool as well. So that looks really good. And then we've got this ratchet, so it just clicks forward like that. So, which is not seen that before. So that's the one of the best things. So it's got the other usual features exactly the same. So you know, rotate the head, as I said, tilt the head forward before you do it. Actually looks pretty good with the head just to one side. Then we've got the legs. Again, if you've got Black Widow, you're looking at the very similar sort of articulation. So there is a bit of limitation by the costume, not necessarily by the figure. But again, you know, if I take her off the stand here, you know, she can't do the splits, thank God. And she's got sort of movement forward and back like that. The knees bend like so. It's a little bit of rotation in the hip there, and again very little, if anything, in the foot because of these boots. But to be honest, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. You can still probably get this figure into some good positions without worrying about, you know, ankle articulation. So overall, I'm extremely pleased with this. As I said, articulation is not necessarily what mine are all about. Again, it's my own personal preference as a collector. Same goes with this. We have the Peacemaker. Everybody shitbags the Peacemaker, but everybody who comes in and sees the Peacemaker standing in a relatively neutral pose in the collection thinks it looks awesome, and I have to agree with them. So again, it's all down to what you want from these figures. I just like them posing them. These are in my theatre room, so I'm looking at them all the time, and that's how, you know, I get a lot of pleasure from just looking at them and collecting them. So, as I said, things matter with different figures to different people, but I can only give you my point of view, and it's certainly, you know, everybody's different. So probably my favourite figure that I've got, and again, because I love the movie, was my Keaton 1989 Batman. Love the figure. Again, articulation in that figure is extremely limited by the suit, and I think if you left it in any positions for much longer, that one would be exactly the same. It would probably be, you know, damage over time. But do I love the figure? Yeah, it's one of my favourites. And short term, that's where my Gamora is going to live. She's going to go in with my Keaton. Probably now two of my favourite figures that have come out. Can't wait, having seen this now, for the rest of the range to come out. So we've got, I'm not sure what I'm going to get next. At the moment, it's looking like Star-Lord, but you never know. we never know what we're going to get. Okay, so any questions? Again, leave them in the comments. I apologise to Rob in particular. I've been so busy at work that I've been trying to reply to these things, and I said I'd put more information about the box up for Igor, but I'll say work demands since Christmas have been crazy. I've been doing long hours, so I thought I've got an opportunity tonight to do this, and then I'll try and. We've also had the Sideshow premium format Michael Keaton figure, which is absolutely awesome. I'm going to try and do a review and get that up as well in the next sort of couple of days while I've got a quiet spell with work. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.